So what is this new Tomb Raider movie called?
Tomb Raider.
That's it.
Yes.
It's not. There's no subtitle.
No. It's exactly like how they did the reboot of the games, where there is no subtitle. It's just Tomb Raider.
Isn't that going to get confusing with the first
Yes,
movie
it is.
though? Yeah.
Well, no, because that was Lara Croft, Tomb Raider.
Oh, that's a good point. They put her name in front of it.
Yes, they did. Which they do on some of the titles of the games as well.
I guess that seems more special because it makes it feel like a James Bond movie. You know? 007 James Bond.
I didn't
James
think of
Bond
that.
in Tomorrow Never Dies. Stuff like that.
But are they? I didn't think they were subtitled like that.
I don't know. Some of them are, I think. I know that some of them are built like that, but like most of them you just see the title, you know.
Oh.
Skyfall.
Sorry, I got windy pops. Okay, carry on.
Okay, that happened. So, my intro here, of course, is leading to the fact that there's a new Tomb Raider movie coming out, and if I recall correctly, you're not too enthused.
We'll talk about this later on.
But that's my point. Like, is one of the reasons that you're not enthused about this just because it's a video game movie?
Yes, maybe slightly biased, probably, maybe. Because, I mean, there's a history of video game movie films that are just really bad. And
Right, but there are also a lot of good movies based off of video games.
Subjective, but yes, there are some good ones.
Maybe the phrase "a lot" is
right,
is
yeah,
stretching
that's
it. But there are some good. Come
Yeah.
on, name me one good movie that's based off of a video game that you like that isn't Tomb Raider.
Damn it! I like the Tekken anime.
Okay, so the anime, like I've seen it. Mm-hmm. I have seen that. I don't remember anything about it.
I don't remember much, admittedly, but I remember enjoying it and having very little experience in the anime genre.
And I do remember the art was good.
It was brilliant. I can't remember the story or anything. I just remember Kazuya's in it, and I think Jin was.
Now, this is something we need to discuss. So, like, I don't know much about Tekken, period. Like, I've played the games, but I know nothing really about the story or the characters. You know a little bit more about that.
Yeah, I used to be quite actually into the whole lore of and the whole story behind like the Kazama clan and.
See, I stuck with Mortal Kombat, Street Fighter,
right.
Learning, you know, even like a little bit about like Bloody Roar and stuff like that. But Tekken, for some reason, Dead or Alive, those are two franchises that I've played the games, but I never learned anything about the actual lore behind them.
Well, what I used to do with any fighting game, though, is the booklets. You know, it has like all the main like selectable characters in there, and it would have their stats, like their age, their height, what country of origin, what style they studied.
The fighting style, and
right?
Yeah,
exactly, and it would have like a brief like bio on them and stuff.
So you read all this?
I read every single one multiple times.
No, that's cool. I mean, that makes sense.
Yeah. Because I enjoy stuff like that.
But you don't remember much about the Tekken movie. You just enjoyed it.
Yeah, I just remember I thought it was really good.
So we should put that on the rewatch list.
Yes.
Okay.
For sure.
No, I agree with that. Because like I said, I've seen it, but it was a long time ago and I just don't remember much about it.
Yeah.
If you want to talk about good video game movies that are based on like an anime form, got to talk about the Street Fighter 2 movie.
That is also another fantastic one.
Amazing film. When's the last time you watched that?
Probably about the same time as Tekken, actually.
Okay,
so,
we're
some
going to
time
rewatch
ago.
that one.
Yes, we should put them both on the list.
Not only is that in my opinion, a good movie, it might be my favorite video game movie.
Really? No, I can definitely understand that.
With the understanding that, did we count that? Because it didn't have a theatrical release. It was a foreign release, technically.
Right, but there's also some that, you know, might have gone straight to DVD or, you know, VHS, depending on when they were released as well. It's
just, that's another one that, for the time, the animation was spot on. The story, even though it gets a little weird, but it feels right. Like, it feels like it belongs with the game. It feels like it works with everything we had learned up until that time, you know? And the music. Come on, the Alice in Chains, Them Bones is in it. Oh
yeah.
And it ends with the Korn song, Blind.
Yes. Yes.
That's a great movie.
That's. I mean, they're just like great elements right there, and even for a person that's not really a Street Fighter fan,
yeah.
You know, I can appreciate that.
So we'll watch Tekken and we'll watch Street Fighter. I own the DVD. I want the 25th. They did like a special edition or something. I don't know if it was 25th anniversary, but it was some kind of special edition Blu-ray.
Yeah, so it was out a while ago, wasn't it?
I don't know if you know this, but there was a rumor for like the longest time that there was like an extra scene of Chun-Li in the shower, because she comes out of the shower
and
she has to fight with Vega.
Right.
Now there was like a rumor forever that there was more to that scene, and I guess maybe fans were thinking she was naked, or there was more fighting, her fighting without clothes on or whatever. But apparently, like, it got just so much that one of the people who worked on the movie actually came out and said that he wasn't even aware of a scene like that. He didn't think it ever happened.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's that kind of reminds me of Tomb Raider 2, the game, and the whole exploding Lara.
Okay, was that not real?
No, well, okay, so that cheat is real, and the devs, they put it in, but the reason why they put it in was to troll people.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so there was rumours going around that there was a nude cheat, so you could play
I remember hearing that.
Right, and so what they did is they said, oh yeah, it's this, step left, step right, step left, step back, step forward, spin 3 times, and do a backward.
Wait, is that the actual code?
Yes.
Why do you have that memorized? How often do you make Lara blow up?
Quite often, because here's the thing, like, a lot of people who didn't know about that, because that's what they did, is they said that was the nude cheat, but it was actually to blow her up.
Right, and that is even funnier. And like I said, I remember hearing so many rumors about there being a nude cheat, so that's hilarious.
Yeah, and the only reason why I know that is because I did it by accident when I was trying to get all weapons. I was either trying to level skip or get all weapons and ammo and like health and stuff, and I ended up blowing her up, and it actually made me jump. I was like, oh my goodness, I didn't know about that. So
wow, that's kind of cool. Mm-hmm. So those are both good, but another animated one that we have to talk about specifically, that I loved, and I remember seeing this and just being blown away by it, was the Fatal Fury anime. It's called Fatal Fury the movie.
I've never seen that.
Not to be confused, because there are other Fatal Fury animated movies, but this one was, it was called Fatal Fury the motion picture. But you've never seen it.
No, I didn't even know there was one.
Well,
Fatal Fury.
I'm going to be honest with you. The story is crazy. And like, it doesn't even feel like what I thought of as the plot for Fatal Fury, reading what little bits about the characters and stuff I had, because I enjoyed it in the arcade and I played it on the Super Nintendo and everything. But this was really good. Again, amazing animation. You kind of like the bad guys. It feels like there's this whole world. You have this one scene with Krauser, who's like the big bad for several of the games, but he's not the big bad of that movie.
Right.
They did a good job of world building and making it feel like something kind of special. So.
Okay. Maybe put that on the watch list as well, because I've not seen that.
Oh, I would totally watch it again. Definitely. We'll watch that one again. It's a really good movie, and I mean, you know who Terry Bogard is, right?
Yeah.
He's the main. He's really like the fan favorite character from Fatal Fury. Like, they do a lot to make him really feel like a cool, fleshed out character.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
That's good. It's kind of more in depth.
Yeah. Just don't be surprised if I, like, walk around the apartment for the next week screaming burn knuckle at you. Don't worry about it. It's okay.
Right. Just be another day.
Yeah, you'll get what it means. Now, as far as, like, animated stuff, though, I guess my other question is, any other animated stuff that you really like?
Going along the animation route again, there is actually another Tekken film, but it's a CGI animated one, and it's
okay. So wait, so there's a CGI one, there's the animated one,
right,
and then there's the horrible live action one.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll get to that in a minute. But
we'll get to that. So again, I've seen it once, and this is kind of at the point where I was starting to tap out of the series, like from Tekken 5 onwards, really. I was kind of like, I'm not feeling this as much as I used to. But so it had like some of the characters. I don't even know what the story was in that. Like, I didn't pay attention. It was beautiful to look at, but I didn't really pay attention. I liked it though. I remember liking it.
I never saw that one. I never saw the CGI Tekken.
Yeah, it's called Blood Vengeance, I think. So it's all to do with Jin taking over Kazuya's I can't remember what the company and all that stuff is called. Like, I'm so out of touch with the lore now.
Sure.
So, and it's
and you haven't even played Tekken 6 yet.
No,
So I'm so disappointed in you.
I haven't played Tekken in a long time.
Wait, no. 6 has been out. I played 6. 7's the new one.
Yeah, 7's the new one.
Okay, I played 6 because I really didn't like the single-player mode or whatever they had in that.
Yeah, see, from sort of 5 was kind of like pushing it for me. That was like my last point where I was like, yeah, I'm kind of done now.
Maybe we'll pick that one up eventually and try to experience that one together. So you're talking about CGI, and help me remember, the Resident Evil movie that was called, like, Degeneration,
right?
Was that CGI, or was that all? Okay, because that was, I couldn't remember, because one of them looked like it was a mixture of CGI and anime. I think that one's full CGI.
Was that the newest one? I don't know if that was the newest one, but...
There are 3. There's Degeneration, Vendetta.
Yeah, which is the newer one.
Is that the newest one?
That's the newest one, yeah.
There's one I'm missing, because I've seen 2. And I know there's at least one I'm missing.
I always forget the name, and I keep... Degeneration and... I want to say it begins with R.
Regeneration?
Yeah. Something like that. Anyway, so... And I think... Because Degeneration is... Is that the one in the airport?
I'm pretty sure.
I think that's
the first one.
Yeah.
And I know I've seen that one.
Yeah,
and
me
then
too.
the second one deals more with Tricell, and I think... It's been so long. Like, I remember enjoying this movie. Okay, so we have a pretty long to-watch again list.
Right, yeah.
Just because my memory sucks.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is with all these so far that we've talked about, like, they, as you said, they didn't necessarily get a theatrical release. I think Vendetta had, like, a really small one. Didn't it? I think, like, especially in Japan.
I know it did in Japan.
Right,
I don't know if it did in the States, though.
But, like, these are all ones that, you know, again, are either CGI or animated or, like, straight to, you know, to DVD kind of thing. I mean, they're still good, and they're still based on video games, but what about, like, live action?
Well, I mean, obviously, I love
We're more limited now, but...
Well, I love the Resident Evil live action movie, the first one.
The first one?
The first one.
Okay. See, I really like the second.
I think that's a horrible, horrible opinion.
Yeah, I mean, you would. Okay, so, don't get me wrong, I did enjoy the first one, and I watched it multiple times.
Wait. You were legit telling me that you like Resident Evil Apocalypse more than the first one.
They're about the same for me.
Oh my God.
I enjoy both of them, but I love Apocalypse, and I'll tell you why after we talk about the first one.
Okay. There's not much to say about the first one. I never go into a movie expecting it to be just like the game, and most of the complaints you hear about the first Resident Evil movie are about how it doesn't really work with the games. I thought Angelina Jolie is not in that movie.
Yeah, I was kind of like, what?
What is her name?
Mila
Jovovich. Jovovich, yeah. I thought she did a great job. I thought she looked great.
Well, she's always waking up naked.
Yeah, which...
In every film she's in.
Which
whether
fine.
she's screwing the director or not. It's like...
Look, just because she found true love and decided to work with her husband for the rest of her career... That's
perfectly fine. I would do the same thing.
Sure you would. Yeah. Miss, I like Apocalypse better. I don't even feel like I know you anymore.
I didn't say... I said about the same. Anyway...
The point is, that is a cool movie. It has a neat setup. You have this whole cool lab underneath. It feels like a Resident Evil environment.
It has elements.
And the movie's not perfect.
No.
There's some really bad CGI in there.
Oh, yeah. I was just about to say, like,
everybody comments on the dogs. I didn't see it as much with the dogs, but it's definitely there.
No, you see, I thought the dogs were fine. It was the lickers. Spoiler alert.
Oh, yeah, that did look bad.
The lickers were terrible, and they did not improve either.
Well, and here's the thing. I really liked that movie. I went to the theater and saw it on a whim, because I thought it was going to be horrible, and I actually really enjoyed it. But, man, watching it years later, the lickers do look really horrible.
They look good. They look terrible.
And you know me, I'm not good at picking out bad CGI. But I'll say the other thing, the soundtrack to that movie.
The soundtrack's amazing.
Love it.
Yes.
Love it.
Marilyn Manson, wasn't it, for the most part?
I mean, he was in it.
I think he produced a lot of the
He might
tracks.
have. I knew he was, but it's like had Mudvayne and some bands that I normally aren't really big on. You know, and that did a great job with that.
Yeah.
So here's my problem though, right? So they have this what I thought was a good movie. I thought Michelle Rodriguez was cool.
I love her.
Yeah, I thought they did a really good job setting it up that like, okay, the next one's going to be in a bigger area because you see her at the end. She wakes up and all this, and it just felt good. Like the ending of that movie, you're like, yeah, let's go. I'm ready to go to the next one and kick some ass. And then it was a total letdown.
Why was it a total letdown?
I didn't like it. I didn't like the stuff with the doctor in the wheelchair. I didn't like the stuff where it's like, hey, go rescue my daughter that this Red Queen is based off of so we can put her back in the movie again.
Okay, that all kind of confused me. Now, because he was supposed to be in Ashford.
We already stressed that you can't look at this like it being perfectly like the game. If you ever go to a video game movie and you're like, I want to see this because it's going to be just like the game, you're going to have a lot of... We can get...
And again, we'll get to that.
We can get to that. But I think you're going to have a lot of problems.
Yeah.
But for me, personally, 2, I think, just didn't hold up as well. It was messier. There were some cool parts in the city, but at the end, that whole fight with her and the guy from the first one, that ends up turning into...
I think his name was...
He turns into Nemesis, right?
Yes, they make him into... They put him in the Nemesis program.
Right. And... that sounded neat on paper, but then when it came time to actually do it, they didn't execute it well. And like, isn't that the one where she runs down the building and they first really start showing off more of her powers and all that? I love that she was just an enhanced human and all that. And then, man, that series goes so off the rail with giving her powers and taking them away and giving them back. And
it really does. Now, you see, here's the reasons why I really liked it. Because for me personally, because Resident Evil 3 is probably my favourite Resident Evil game, right? And...
so I can see it's got Nemesis in it, sure.
Right, but that's not...
what's her name?
Jill Valentine.
Jill. It's got Jill in it.
Exactly.
And the actress that they got to play her was really cool.
And I think, does it have Nikolai? No, not
Carlos.
Nikolai. No.
Carlos is in it.
Yeah, Carlos, because that's Oded Fair, I think his name is. How you say it? I don't know.
It's some dude, and I'm sorry, he was in that movie.
He's also in The Mummy.
Oh, yeah, it is that guy. Yes. Okay.
Anyway,
I forgot that is that guy.
Okay, so it has a lot of nods to Resident Evil 3, with the whole city gone to crap, and like even like you said, like at the end of the first film, where she's standing there with the shotgun, like getting ready. That I honestly thought they were going to base the second film as her essentially taking over Jill's role, and they were going to sort of use that angle.
Yeah.
Right.
Which may have been a better idea because I think one of the problems is that they started going, let's cram more characters into these movies.
Right. Yeah. Let's get more let's get more characters that people know. Now, admittedly, again, all these little nods, like you mentioned, Alice or Mila Jovovich running down the building. That is. No, sorry, not running down the building. It's just before that when she's running through the building and the helicopter's shooting.
Oh, because it's Veronica.
Code Veronica, yeah, exactly. And it's exactly the same with when she drops a gun, like when she's holding her hands up.
I call that, yes.
Yeah, and again, that was Code Veronica. Same with Ashford, the nod to Ashford, the dude in the wheelchair, which again deals with the Ashford family in Code Veronica. So there was that nod. And then obviously you got Jill Valentine, who... She did a good job. She certainly looked the part.
Yeah, she really did look the part. She was cute in that outfit.
Yeah. My only gripe is she kind of... Her attitude didn't quite fit.
Sure.
Jill is badass. Don't get me wrong. You know, you want stars, I'll give you stars. That kind of thing. Like, she does have that element to her, but... In the movie, I think that they tried a little too hard.
Her entrance into the police station, that is just like such a try-hard moment. We want to be 90s action movie. Yeah. Oh, man. So
those are my only gripes. Now, when I first saw it and I found out Nemesis was in there, I did fangirl. A little bit, just because again, my love.
Fangirl?
No. As soon as he said the word stars, and I clapped so much when he did that, and I yelped.
I'm so glad we don't own that movie. I don't want to watch that again. Oh, I didn't like it. I'm sorry.
It has
I'm
its
not saying
problems.
I'm not saying there's not good parts of that one. Didn't they blow up the city at the end of that too?
Yes.
Yeah,
I think they did.
man, I was so checked out towards the end of that movie.
Yeah, I mean, I understand it. It just, for me, there was a lot more direct nods and fan service in the second film than there was the first.
I like 3 a lot better, but it felt like such a jump in time. And then 3 is really good until, again, the beginning of 3 is great, in my opinion. And then they give her new powers and all that, and that's just like checked out again.
Well,
and then all the clones.
Right. I mean, giving her powers is not much different to how they built up Wesker in the games.
I can kind of see that, but it's a little bit different when it's your hero and you're supposed to be rooting for your hero, and it's like the same problem people have trouble rooting for Superman, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I've never liked him anyway, so...
That's not the point. The idea is that, is that somebody who is all-powerful, it's harder to root for someone because they don't, you feel like they can do anything, they're going to win. They'll have a power or a way to get out of it. I don't know, it's harder to write for.
Sure, no, I get that. But I kind of checked out after 2, honestly.
Since we're on this, and since it's the same director, so this is Paul W.S. Anderson, I believe.
Yes.
Or Paul, there's like 3 Paul Andersons in filmmaking.
Okay.
Because there's the other one who does all like the symmetrical comedies and all that. But this is the one who did Event Horizon, which is a movie I absolutely love, but is not a video game movie, sadly.
Yeah.
But he also did Mortal Kombat. He did the first one. And that is a movie that, again, it's not like the game, but it's pretty close. And I think they used a lot of that movie because it did so well, the first one. They use that to base some of their future decisions on their lore and stuff like that, But also, it's just a fantastically fun movie.
It is a lot of fun, and the soundtrack is hype as heck.
Yes, the soundtrack's amazing. Deny. Some of those fight scenes are really good. There's some just very iconic moments. You can stop whenever. Oh, please.
Mortal Kombat!
What is that?
It's so hype. You gotta feel the hype.
I don't even say hype that much. Yes, the soundtrack is amazing. And even more than just the theme song. There's some other really good songs on there.
Well, it's great 90s techno.
Listen, they had 4 Mortal Kombat albums that I was aware of. They had the 2 for the movies.
Oh, wow. Okay.
They had the 2 for the movies. They had the one that was like the game tracks remixed or whatever. And then they had like a remix that was just like Mortal Kombat. It was music inspired by Mortal Kombat or something like that.
Right, okay.
And at one point I owned all 4 of them. I have no clue what happened.
That doesn't shock me.
Well, I still own 2 of them. I still own for both movies. And look, as much as Mortal Kombat is probably my favorite, edging out just a little bit over Street Fighter because of, like I said, the theatrical release and all that, Mortal Kombat's probably my favorite video game movie of all time.
Yes.
So, to date.
I'm aware.
You should be. But it's amazing. It's my feel-good movie. I can watch it no matter what mood I'm in, no matter what point in the movie I catch it, no matter like how lousy I feel, I will watch Mortal Kombat.
Okay.
And for me, personally, I was torn apart by the sequel. It is one of the few movies I can count. I've only almost walked out of 2 movies ever in my life. And for someone who doesn't have a ride away from the movie theater, who can't drive, that says a lot. And that was one of them.
Wow. Would you say that your hopes and dreams were annihilated?
Oh my God. So,
I'm sorry. I couldn't resist.
I don't know if we can continue doing this podcast. Not with you.
Okay.
When did you watch Mortal Kombat?
I was probably in my early teens, maybe. I don't know. Because I remember watching the TV show.
Oh, Conquest.
Yeah.
No, you don't mean the cartoon, because there was the
No.
kind of cool cartoon that was on
No, I don't think...
USA. It was called Defenders of the Realm. It
No,
was okay.
I don't think I saw that.
For a really kiddie version of Mortal Kombat, it was fine.
Right.
And then TNT had Conquest. And I remember that because it used to come on after Nitro. So after wrestling, I would watch Mortal Kombat.
Right.
And then, unfortunately, I think like Robin Hood took its place, and it just anyway.
Yeah. So it would have been around about that time. So yeah, I guess maybe early teens, maybe a little bit earlier than that when I first saw it.
Right.
And I always, the thing is, I always get them mixed up because in the first one wasn't Raiden
Christopher Lambert.
Christopher Lambert.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My gruff French accent.
Yeah. Which is, it's such a weird accent because it's kind of nothing. It's weird.
Well, he's French and he's got a kind of gravelly accent or voice normally, and he can just make things sound really cool. It's like Morgan Freeman. Sometimes certain things he said just sound cooler. You know.
Would you have cast him as Raiden?
Yes, but here's why. Oh, okay, look, here's why.
Interesting.
Because he was the Highlander.
Right.
And to me, I feel like he could have done a really good job with that role.
Okay. I mean, don't ask me who I would have. No, I would have cast one of the three storms from Big Trouble in Little China.
Sure, of
the
course.
the one that like blows himself up and makes.
Oh
him
yeah,
fat.
yeah.
I can't remember which one that
I
was.
can't
The
remember
wind
which one.
one, I guess.
Yeah.
Like him.
No, you're right.
He would have been perfect.
He would have been fine.
And that's
he
not
would have been an actual Asian actor.
Right, and that's not because of stereotype, but he actually looks like him.
No. I agree.
To me.
I agree with that. No, the real question is, who would you cast now? Like, if they were like, tomorrow, we're making a new Mortal Kombat movie, who would you cast as Raiden?
Oh, who's that guy? He was in Rogue One, and I think he was the blind dude.
Oh, yeah. No, that's not bad. That's not a bad idea. I was going to just say you get Jet Li to do it.
He would be a good one, too.
I think he would be a good one.
I love Jet Li.
Me too. So, speaking of Mortal Kombat real quick, did you ever watch Mortal Kombat Rebirth?
No.
Do you know what that is?
No.
So, there was a trailer made, and this guy made it with like his own money or whatever, or some donations or something, and the idea was it was his pitch for a new Mortal Kombat movie. And it's a cool, I think it's like 9 minutes, and it sets up all the characters, and it's a more quote-unquote gritty, realistic version of Mortal Kombat. And that guy went on to make Mortal Kombat Legacy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and he used some of his ideas from Rebirth for Legacy, but it's not all the same.
You're right.
But you should watch Rebirth if you haven't seen it. It's only, like I said, it's only like 9 minutes.
Right, I may have seen it then because I can't remember what I was doing, but I was looking around YouTube and then I came across this Machinima Mortal Kombat video.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it was, what's the dude's name with the arms of blade, like, yeah, his arms are blade.
Baraka.
That's the one, that dude. So it was him and some other dude.
It's probably Johnny Cage. Are they having a fight in the living room?
They may have been.
Because in the Rebirth, when Baraka kills Johnny Cage, like early on,
I remember he kills someone. Yeah, so
Yeah.
it may have been that. So I may have actually seen that and not realised that was Rebirth, because I remember then binge watching Legacy when I found that it was a thing.
Legacy was a lot of fun. So was, speaking of Machinima real quick, it was Street Fighter Assassin's Fist.
Yeah.
You know, that was really good. I never watched the second one because it was only on like Go 90 or something. I've just never seen it.
Yeah, so that was really, really well done. And I like the gritty, real, because Casper Van Dien is Johnny.
I think you're right. Mm-hmm. Of Legacy, the Raiden episode might be the best one. Like, as much as I like Jerry Ryan and
oh, that's right, she's Sonya Blade.
She's Sonya and Michael Jai White. You know, Black
wow.
Dynamite himself is Jax.
Yeah.
It was great. Mm-hmm. So let's talk about a film I know we both like, and that's the first Silent Hill movie.
Yes.
What are your thoughts on that one? Like, why do you like that movie?
So I went to the cinema to see that.
Same as me.
I remember. Okay.
We actually convinced Shonda to go, and she was not pleased with
I'm
that.
not surprised because it's a brutal film. So again, we were talking about earlier with Resident Evil how you go into a video game movie or adaptation, right? And you can't have too many expectations of it being word for word, scene by scene, exactly like the game, right? So, of course, with this, I tried to keep that in mind without fangirling too hard because Silent Hill is one of my favourite games.
Of course.
And I tried not to get annoyed with the changes they made.
Yeah, and that's a great example of another one where I don't think they could have done it just like it. No, people would have been confused. People would have been too confused.
I possibly, yeah. I mean, the story in the first one is pretty... I mean, all the stories are pretty convoluted. The second one is extremely dark.
Yeah. Which I would have loved to have seen that one.
That would have been amazing as a film adaptation. Like, even... Like, it could be its own thing. Not necessarily based on Silent Hill, you know. It's a story enough in itself. You know, there were a few things, like the fact they changed, like, the name slightly from Cheryl to Sharon. I was like, why?
Yeah,
Cheryl's fine.
Right, I didn't know why.
And the fact that they threw in a lot of nods to 2. The hotel is in the film.
Yeah.
Like collecting the like the blocks. There's just little things. What else is Pyramid Head?
Yeah. Makes
an appearance.
Yeah, and you knew it was going to happen. I remember before we went and saw the movie, somebody asked me, it's like, do you think Pyramid Head's going to be in there? And I was like, yes, because he's one of the biggest icons.
He is an iconic
from that franchise.
Right. Yeah, him and the nurses, and of course, evidently, they were also there.
And that's what I was going to say. So she was scared when we took her to go see the movie until the nurses. As soon as, how did she put it? The nurses' Michael Jackson Thriller dance happened. She was just at that point like, all right, I'm just waiting for this to end. I'm not scared anymore.
Yeah, no, they were a bit silly. They were a bit silly, and the male nurses in the game actually probably scare me more than the female nurses.
Really?
Yeah, because the male nurses, they made this horrible groaning noise.
That just sounds like me when I wake up in the morning.
Well, okay, maybe that's why I'm not too scared. But like, you know, in the dark and what have you.
Sure.
So that bit was kind of silly. The girl that plays Sybil, I never remember her name, but she was
Andrea in The Walking Dead.
Correct, and I hated her. I hated her character in that too. And
see, I thought she did a pretty good job as Sybil, and I will say, when we watched it in theater, that was the one part that made me a little uncomfortable, was her death.
Yeah, spoiler alert. So it doesn't go well. That's the only thing story-wise that we don't know is canon or not, is whether she lives or dies, because the good...
She's not in any other game, so yeah.
Right, but neither is James Sunderland in the second one.
Right. Well, it's supposed to be kind of like an anthology story. It's not supposed to be... I don't think... Silent Hill really shouldn't have a hero, so to speak.
Yeah,
it doesn't... Not to quote the song, but it's not a place for heroes.
Right. But there are other changes as well. For example, like Dahlia Gillespie isn't the bad guy. It's like her sister or something.
Yeah.
It was like her sister is who's the Borg Queen.
Yes, is the Borg Queen. Long may she reign.
But the film itself is gruesome.
Yes, they do really look.
It was disturbing.
I know. I heard a lot of hate for this movie from friends of mine, you know, that had also played the game or were at least familiar with it enough to know it was based off a game. Mm-hmm. I enjoyed it.
Yeah,
I liked the first
did.
one. Now, what do you think of the second one?
I've seen it once, and I think I fell asleep halfway through.
Holy shit! Okay.
And again, like a lot of people might get confused because
it's really the third game.
Yeah, exactly. Which technically is canon with the first one because the second one has nothing to do with the first game. So storyline-wise, you know, you're going from Silent Hill 1 to Silent Hill 3 because the main character in 3 is the character from the Good Plus ending of the first one. And the Good Plus ending, Sybil lives. So again, that was my kind of
okay, I get where you were going with that now.
Right.
But obviously, again, we're taking too much effort to try to relate them back to the games and try to keep it in line with that. But
exactly.
Yeah.
And one thing I will say about the first one, I can't remember about the second one, honestly, the second film, but the soundtrack was, I don't know if I'll have to check afterwards, whether it's a credit to Akira Yamaoka, who did the soundtrack for the first three. But they took a lot of stuff from right, and it was like the perfect soundtrack, because those songs are amazing.
I wish the song from the second one had been in there.
Which one?
The intro song, when you play the intro. Or maybe this is the third one. Which is the one that's got the woman singing it. It sounds kind of almost like a pop song at first. One? Oh, maybe that is the third one. I think you're right. I think it is the third one. I love that though. Yes. Okay, you can stop. Yes. Okay.
Everything I had more.
You're just singing Oasis now.
No.
That sounds just like an Oasis song. Listen, so I thought the second one had some really good parts. Like it, obviously, I don't think was as good as the first one by a long shot. And
a young Kit Harington in it as well.
Yeah, I totally forgot about that.
Yep.
That's right.
A lot of people forget that.
Mr. Game of Thrones himself.
Mr. Jon Snow.
He didn't know shit.
He doesn't know enough in Jon Snow.
You know there's a W at the end of that.
Jon Snow, butt. Oh my God, Becky! Look at his butt!
Anyway, so
inside joke.
What did you think about the baby doll spider monster?
That was fine.
I actually I thought it was going to be so cheesy because somebody told me it was in there, and I thought it was just going to be horrible, and it doesn't look great. No. But they got the movement down for that. Right.
Didn't they use, because I think they did for the first one, but didn't they use real people to do some of the movements?
Yeah, I think you're right. For mocap.
Right, yeah, exactly.
No, I think you're absolutely right. The only problem sorry, skipping ahead for a second. The only problem I really have for the second one, though, is it could have been almost as good as the first one if the ending didn't feel like it was just a complete cop-out. It really felt like they got to the ending and they were like, so what do we do now, guys? I don't know. You said you fell asleep, so I don't even know if you remember the ending.
I don't remember much of it at all. Now, does Sean Bean die? I don't think he does.
I don't think so.
I don't think he does. So that was another disappointment, because if they were going the route of, again, associating the characters, Sean Bean looked like a great Harry Mason.
Yeah, he could pull the look.
Either him or David Boreanaz has the look. Because if you look at the cutscenes in the first one,
young David Boreanaz,
right? Exactly, young. No, yeah. If you give him a facelift,
totally get that, yeah.
And I'm
not saying he
20
looks.
pounds.
I'm not saying he looks bad now, but yeah, no. Especially back in the day.
Back in the day, he was. Harry Mason is Angel, but so in which case, Sean Bean is the next best thing, to bring it to life now. And if they were going again by the story a little bit closer. In the second film, third game, then rip Sean Bean again.
But this is going back to the story.
I know.
And maybe they were just like, listen, Sean Bean dies and everything else.
Yeah, it's we'll cut him some slack,
But I don't think he dies.
I don't think he does, thinking about it now.
Again, I've only seen it once, but... Speaking of stuff that is really hard to keep close to the story, and that... if I recall, pissed a lot of fans off. Did you watch the Final Fantasy The Spirits Within?
Yes. I, again, went to the cinema to see that.
Me too.
Thinking that... Now, I was a lot younger when it came out. I had only just really started getting into Final Fantasy games. I think I was playing 8 at the time.
Sure.
And so, of course, my young mind, not thinking about... trying to disassociate, and it's just the name, thought, it's going to have GFs in it. Where's Shiva? Where's, Ifrit and, Gilgamesh and all that kind of stuff. And I was like, oh, what is this?
Yeah.
It's beautiful to look at, but what?
Oh, at the time, it was a work of art, and
Well, it was one of the first full-length CGI.
What's the guy's name? It's Alec Baldwin, who's the main character.
Was it Baldwin?
The main Marine.
I think
It's somebody like that. It had big names.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like I think Donald Sutherland was like the doctor. And all that.
You're right.
It looked great.
Wasn't Steve Buscemi in it as well?
He was. The story was, it was there. It showed up.
Yeah.
But I'm kind of like you. I convinced myself, I was like, okay, Final Fantasy VIII and 7 even had some amazing cutscenes, and that you put all this stuff together, you can make an amazing movie years before Advent Children. You know, you're thinking that's what it's going to essentially be.
Great. Sorry.
Is it?
I love it.
Is it?
I love it.
Do you?
Yeah, and even though even though I'm not a fan of 7.
Yeah. I thought Advent Children was fine. I had friends that went like nuts when Advent Children came out. And I saw it, and I was just like with, you know, Spirits Within, and you thought I would have learned my lesson. I thought this is going to be fantastic. But I think you're right. I think part of Advent Children was me realizing I care a lot more about the story in 8 than I do about the story in 7.
Yeah.
And I don't even remember the story in 7 that well. And, like, there are cool parts, but you know when they go into, like, the, it's towards the end when they go into, like, the forest, and it's like a crystal or, like, white forest at the end of Advent Children. I almost fell asleep at that point. I don't know why.
Yeah. No, I get it. Again, it's more of a, oh, this is pretty than...
And it looked fantastic, and... You know, I have several female friends that were gushing over Vincent, you know.
And I don't blame them.
Yeah.
I mean, mysterious, you know, transforming
He's a
vampire dude.
right?
Yeah, you know, it's like, ooh.
Yeah. No love for Barrett. No love for Barrett.
I mean, Barrett's fine, but, you know, Vincent, I like the dark bad boy.
I can't.
The brooding, lonely man with metallic claws.
Yeah. Advent Children, I at least give the credit that it is rooted deeply in Final Fantasy. I mean, it's based in one of the specific games. Whereas for The Spirits Within, it felt like somebody started making another movie and they said, we can turn this into a Final Fantasy thing and slap the name on it.
Yeah, I mean, it did feel like it was just, they were just slapping the name on it and, you know, again. But here's the thing, like, if you made that into a game, it would be fine. You know, you could argue that every single Final Fantasy is its own Spirits Within kind of thing. Speaking
of games that we, you know, get turned into movies and stuff like that, I think there was another one you mentioned to me that, you know, I don't even think I knew it was a movie.
Oh, yeah, Parasite Eve.
All right, so explain this one to me. Because I did know there was a movie, but, like, I thought there's not an English version. Am I just wrong about that?
I'm pretty sure there isn't an English version. However, I have only seen the movie once.
Okay, so, see, let me explain real quick. That's where I was confused. Because I thought you were telling me there was a version in English or something that I missed. But no I did know about... the Japanese one.
Live action.
Now, I've never seen it, so you're going to have to tell me about this one.
I watched it late at night on my phone. Like, I found
doing it legit, gotcha.
Yeah, doing it legit on my phone, in bed. So I was kind of, because I was kind of excited. I was like, oh, there's a film on this? Because I didn't know either. I didn't know that the movie is based on a book.
Yes.
If I remember correctly.
That's correct.
So... it's funny because what category does it fall? Because the first game, which we didn't get, Europe didn't get the first game, is following on from the movie.
Yeah, and I guess you're right. Technically, the movie isn't based off the game, so therefore... we can't talk about it. All right.
There you go. So that was whole pointless. And I didn't realise until, you know, after that was the case. And then I remembered, oh, yeah, the first game is set after, I can't remember how many years after the movie.
Yeah, and that's another point. I remember this now because I remember reading that, you know, the game actually takes place later.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because it references the movie, the characters from the movie, the Doctor and his wife,
Right.
and what happened.
Now, give me the brief blurb here. Do you remember if it was good? For anybody who might want to go look this up now.
I mean, I think it was visually. There was a few like dodgy CGI scenes, I think, but it was a atypical Japanese movie.
Sure.
I would say. So, go in expecting that. Kind of a lot of story heavy and oh my goodness, why is this happening? Type thing.
Yeah. So let's talk about some bad video game movies. And we're not going to spend quite as much time on this.
That's what I'm excited about.
I know. See, here's the problem. Any of these movies or franchises, we could probably turn into a podcast all on their own if we really wanted to.
Probably, yeah.
So we're not going to spend as much time on the bad ones. Just expect in the future we'll probably revisit this topic with something a little more in depth. But let me start. I just want to tell you. You know what my guilty pleasure film movie is?
Me aside from Mortal Kombat.
It's not a guilty pleasure. That's a good. You shut up.
No, go on. Seriously, what?
So, you have video game movies that are really, really bad. And we're going to talk about some of those. And then you have some that are really, really fun and really, really good. Mm-hmm. And then you have a few that are just kind of, they're there. Like, for me, Max Payne. It's not horrible, but it's not good. That. But it just falls in the middle. It's just not anything special, right? Mm-hmm. To me.
Yeah.
To me. But there's one movie I usually have trouble classifying. It's not good, but it's not bad, but it seems like it should be more than just in the middle, but it probably isn't in the long run. But for me, that's the DOA movie, Dead or Alive.
Oh my goodness. So,
It's got Eric Roberts as the bad guy.
I don't care.
It has Kevin Nash as the big wrestler dude, whose name I just forgot.
Wow, really?
Yeah.
I didn't even realize
I forgot
at the time.
His daughter is
Jamie
Lee Presley.
Jamie Presley, yeah.
Who, or maybe Lee's not her name.
No, I think it's just Jamie Presley.
But she was in My Name is Earl.
Yes,
which I love. Which I was watching at the time when this movie came out.
Okay,
it's got Devin Aoki from Sin City.
Yes,
I think that's how you say her name.
Yeah,
Aoki.
I think so.
And whoever plays Nina Williams. Nina? No, hold on. It's the blonde assassin chick.
Frick. Hang on.
I told you, this is DOA is one of the games I don't know the story to. And I can't say the movie helps.
Is she the Australian one?
I think so.
She's a singer.
There's the famous scene where somebody breaks into her hotel room and she throws her hands up, her bra and her guns come down her hands. Yeah. And there's another version of that scene where you actually see everything, where she apparently is. I don't know if it's a body double or whatever, but they cut that version out of the movie anyway. Why am I telling you all this? Because I like tits. But that's not the point. Go on.
Okay, so the only positive to that
is
the casting for Tina, Jamie Presley.
Like she is perfect. It is Tina. You're right.
Yes,
and
she is perfect for that role.
Right. She fits that role really well.
The rest of it is just garbage.
And I think Eric Roberts, who is Julia Roberts' brother, has the bad guy. I think he really. I think they're half.
I think they're half.
But whatever.
Whatever.
But he really is trying, and you can tell he doesn't do a lot of martial arts, or he's just kind of a little bit slower. I don't know. I'm not trying to pick on the man, but it's just fun to watch him. But do you get my point? That it has Ryu Hayabusa. It probably has the worst version of Ryu Hayabusa ever. Because he gets caught and knocked out, I believe, in the same couple of scenes.
Oh, him and whoever plays Zack.
Yeah.
Were two... Those were the best casting that I recall.
The guy who played Zack really, again, was trying.
Right,
You could tell he wanted this to be fun.
But the rest of them, what's her face for Kasumi? And I was like...
Devin...
Yeah.
She was Devin...
that one, yeah.
She seemed bored, but she seems bored in everything she does.
But I didn't understand... And then, the chick who's playing Ayane, what?
Oh, yeah. I totally forgot about her.
I don't...
Can we watch that again? That movie, legit, it's so dumb. It's bad.
It is, yeah.
I've watched it probably 4 times now, 3-4 times.
Oh my goodness, why?
So I rented. It's something I got from Netflix back when I used to just do DVDs from Netflix. And you know how Netflix, there are no late fees. You just don't get a new movie until you send it back. Mm-hmm. Well, that was one I legit kept meaning to send back, and I never did. And so you'd be like, I need to send that back, and then I'd watch it again. And so I watched it like 3 times, and I think someone came over to my apartment when I was in college and was like, oh, I've never seen it. And I'm like, well, we're watching it, and we've got alcohol.
Yay! That's the only time you can watch it is if you're drinking. But
it's not The Room. Come on.
That is just pure entertainment through and through. But here's the thing. A lot of the really bad movies, the majority of them, like video game movies, the majority of them are based on fighting games. Have you noticed that?
A lot of them, yeah.
So you've got Dead or Alive.
Mortal
Kombat.
Street Fighter.
You've got Tekken.
Yep.
Which,
by the way, since we're on bad movies, I'm not going to talk about it much because, man, you want to talk about a movie I drank through to forget. The Tekken movie is wretched. And it is such a waste of potential. You can tell there was a good movie there somewhere, and they just
which is such a shame, because when I first looked at it, and having Jin bang Christie, whatever her name is, I
know who you're talking about, and I can see her face.
And I was like, what? No, this is not how it works. This is not how any of this works.
This is not how any of this works.
I think they tried too hard to make it, because Tekken can be quite dark.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it definitely has its ups and downs in the story and themes of, it isn't like one of the main themes is like father and son trying to kill each other.
Well, it's Jin and Kazuya, yeah.
Yeah.
It's always about Jin and Kazuya.
That's what I'm saying. Like, that's, when you have that as a main theme.
Kazuya and Heihachi.
One of them got thrown into a volcano. No, wait. Heihachi is related to them also, though, right?
Yeah, Heihachi is the granddad of Jin and...
I've never liked that character. When they put him in Soul Calibur 2, I was like, why? Why couldn't PlayStation get a better character?
Yeah, it just...
Now, you talk about all of these being fighting games, and or all these movies being based off fighting games, and I agree with you.
Well, a lot of the bad ones.
A lot of them. But let's talk about... So you told me you don't like the original Street Fighter.
Like the live action.
Yeah.
Jean-Claude and Kylie Minogue.
Yeah.
And...
Kylie Minogue. Raul Julia.
Ming-Hua is Chun-Li, I think her name.
I think you're right, yeah.
Yeah, she's gorgeous.
I can't believe... So we're sitting there watching Arrow, and we're on like season 1, and it has the random Asian dude on the island, Wafei or whatever his name is. And Geek goes, that's the guy from Street Fighter. And I'm like, what? I don't think so. And she goes, no, it was Ryu. I know it was. And of course she was right. And I'm just like, I would have never guessed that. Because, okay. For anybody who has never read the whole backstory, I think it's a Polygon article. You should go read it. It talks about every bad thing that happened during the Street Fighter filming. Like, people getting sick, people getting arrested and sent home. Jean-Claude and Kylie Minogue banging while the movie was going on.
He bangs everyone.
Yeah, and I like his defense was, that he was in the best shape of his life, and she was like 19 and in the best shape of her life, or something like that. I can't remember how old she was. I don't remember her age. She was something. She was young and in great shape, and so they were banging. Don't quote me on the 19-year-old thing, but if you go read that article, it'll tell you, and it just that was. Man, it was such a mess. But my point was, Raul Julia is amazing.
Yes.
That's about it. But there's no way it's worse than The Legend of Chun-Li.
I have not had the pleasure or displeasure. I'm glad I haven't.
There's only 2 good parts. So it's Kristen Curick or something like that. She was in Smallville.
Yeah.
She was Lana Lang. Which... she isn't the worst part of the movie. You can't rest. It's like Halle Berry and Catwoman. You can't completely rest that on her.
Right.
Robin Shou was in it as Jin, and I think he was actually a good choice to play Jin. Mm-hmm. And he's from Mortal Kombat, so I was totally in. Mm-hmm. But they don't give him much to do, and he kind of goes out like a bitch. The only good part is they have this horrible person playing Bison. And I'm sure he's a decent actor.
Is he the guy with like the
blonde hair? Yeah.
Bright blue eyes.
So the bad guys, the bad guys are so weird. So it's one of the guys from Black Eyed Peas, and he doesn't do a horrible job, but he doesn't have much to do. But he's Vega, and I was like, okay,
I know who you mean now.
Yeah, I was like, okay, whatever, sure, cool. Mm-hmm. But Bison, like I said, the actor may be decent in other stuff, but in this, I don't think he wanted to be there. I don't blame him.
Probably not.
He just does some weird shit. But the coolest part of the whole movie is the fight at the end and how she, spoiler alert, kills him. Mm-hmm. Like, that's great. But the movie ends and you're like, what the fuck did this have to do with Street Fighter? It was like, we're going to take a bunch of characters. And I'll admit, when I first heard that movie rumored, I was stupid. And I said, well, I do like Chun-Li. And I like this actress who they've chosen. This could be okay. And I was thinking, like, it won't involve any of the other main Street Fighter characters. It'll just be kind of an origin story for her. You know, maybe somebody like Gin, you know, or Jin, however you say it. You know, like somebody like him, you know, that's not a main character. Yeah. But, man, they went for the ride on that one.
Yeah, they really did, from what I've seen. I've seen clips, and I'm just like, nope.
I guess we can't really do a podcast on bad movies based on video games and not mention Uwe Boll.
Oh, the long list of films.
So, Postal is probably...
I've not seen that. I didn't even know that was a film.
Thank your lucky stars.
It's
such a weird... First of all, have you played the game?
Not the first one. I've seen the second.
But you know it's a little crazy. It's a little out there. Yeah. So, like, I understand where the film goes at some points because it actually seems like it knows a little bit of the source material. But it's so bad. It's so hard to watch. I'm not putting that one on the rewatch list, but you should watch it just so you can agree with me one day.
Right, yeah. It's just I'm going to say, oh, I feel you. One, which I nearly forgot until, like, the last minute, Blood Rain.
So the only reason you watch Blood Rain is Christina Loken's tits.
I mean... This
makes me sound like a horrible person, but seriously, that's the only thing I really remember from that. And the fact that they got Michael Madsen,
Michelle Rodriguez,
and Ben Kingsley.
All
All three actors, I'm like, you know...
They must have all been so drunk.
Michael Madsen is wooden as fuck, but the rest of them should be fine.
Michelle's accent is terrible.
Oh my god, I forgot about that.
Yeah, it is diabolical. There's no story. See, okay, What's Her Face would have been great. Like, would have been okay as Rain.
She
visually.
Yeah, I mean, she looked the part.
Yeah. Although I think the Western film that they did, what's that one called? Is it like the third film?
If you're talking about Blood Rain 3, the woman who plays her in that is actually better.
Yeah, 2 and 3. Like she actually.
And once again, that movie's pretty bad. There's a lot wrong with it. It's probably better than the first one, but the best part is the nudity.
Right. Yeah, and again, like when it comes to. That's the
I
best
own that
part.
one if you want to watch it. I have Blood Rain 3 around here somewhere.
I'm aware. I have seen it and I was like,
And you probably dropped it and hissed at it.
So, the fact that the only redeeming factor of the film is the fact that you get to see a bit of tit.
And laughing at, like you said, like Michelle Rodriguez's
which is such a shame because I love her.
And Ben Kingsley being this amazing actor who you can tell, like what did... that Uwe Boll's company have over him? Like, how did they get him drunk?
They must have blackmailed him or something.
Like, I just imagine he was on like a binger and he was like, "Man, I signed this contract."
Yeah, he was just like, "Oh, yeah, 'cause I'll do your film.
Yeah.
That sounds great."
Now, Blood Rain has 3 films, and I've seen all 3 of them, and there may be more. I'm not sure, but then there's also one called Blubber, or Blubber Rain, or something like that, which is the spoof of it.
I've
never seen it. But we need to watch it at some point.
I didn't know that was a thing.
They filmed it the same time they were filming Blood Rain 3, and I think it's called just Blubber or Blubber Rain. and it's a fat woman playing Blood Rain.
Wow.
Yeah, and it's supposed to be horrible.
Wow.
But that's not the only franchise he's messed up. Like most people, will tell you, there's also his wonderful version of House of the Dead.
Yeah, and again, I have not seen it, but I've seen clips.
Oh, you're missing out.
And
it's especially bad.
Well, I mean, the games are really bad. Like in terms, because it's just a rail shooter, so you can't really do much with it story-wise.
Yeah, but this is so bad. Look, when the best part of that movie is at one point they do character profiles where the characters actually are like holding their weapons and they're spinning around,
like
and I think it shows like stats.
Oh my goodness, that's like the beginning of Resident Evil OG. You're like Barry Burton.
Right. It's very similar.
Albert Wesker, and he's like putting his hair back, and he's like, nodding his head. Oh, sorry, I'm really excited.
Like I said, when that's the best part. And like, there's an Asian girl in it that does a really good job. Like, again, you can tell like she was trying to make the best of a bad situation. That's That's another movie I was drinking during watching it.
I'm not surprised.
And I don't remember much about it. I did watch his version of Far Cry.
Oh, I didn't even know he made one.
He did. It's really weird that the main character has a German accent when they never address the fact that he's German, and the guy in the video game, which is, you can clearly see it's based off the first game. The guy in the first game is like from like Texas.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, and that's another one I don't remember much about because I watched it. It came on Netflix of all things, like back when Netflix streaming was still a pretty new service.
Right. Okay.
And
also Alone in the Dark with Christian Slater and Tara Reid.
Right.
What the frick was that about?
So it happens, and there are parts that I liked about it because it felt like a detective story mixed with this Lovecraftian thing, which is Alone in the Dark.
Right, it is, yeah.
And in the beginning of the movie, they capture that feeling.
Yeah.
And then the rest of the movie happens, and it's something stupid.
Yep.
The only thing I really like about the movie? In the end credits, when they're showing the city, and it does seem kind of cool that whatever they did screwed over the world, or whatever. Like, it gives you this kind of, oh crap, we fucked up moment.
Yeah.
And it plays a song by Nightwish.
Okay.
And that song is probably the best part of the movie.
That's probably what he spent most of his money on, is to get the license for that song.
For a Nightwish song.
For a Nightwish song. Oh dear. But yeah, like those are probably the worst, and most of them by the same director too.
I do remember saying I was really glad Christian Slater found some work, because I was worried about him for a little while.
Yeah, I was worried about you. I was worried about you, Christian. Now, a dishonourable mention, which I don't know why we haven't mentioned it once. Super Mario Brothers. I'm sorry, it has to be there.
But it's fun. Come on.
Right, yeah.
Look,
that's why it's
a
dishonourable mention.
Yeah. I don't know if this is a dishonourable mention, but have you ever seen the Double Dragon movie?
No.
Yeah.
I don't think I have. Oh, maybe I have.
It's not good.
If I see bits of it, I probably...
That's another one it goes between categories for me, from being just mediocre, to maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I'll give it a go.
Another mediocre one would be like the Prince of Persia movie. I've only seen parts of it, but yeah.
See, again, tried.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, you got Jake Gyllenhaal.
Yeah, who's a good actor.
Yeah, hasn't he like won an Oscar?
Probably.
Or he's at least been nominated.
He's been in movies that have been nominated.
Right, yeah.
I know
he's done some major roles, and amazing roles. Brokeback Mountain as well.
Jarhead.
Donnie Darko.
Jarhead,
yeah.
Donnie Darko was great.
Zodiac.
Oh yeah, I forgot he was in
and
there.
a few other things, and they're just to name a few. So again, they kind of tried with that. It wasn't great, but it wasn't, bad.
So, what are some video game based movies you haven't seen that you would like to give a shot?
I have yet to see the Assassin's Creed.
Same. I need to watch it.
I've heard mixed things.
Sure.
And again, I'm not going in there thinking, oh, this is going to be... Because I'm not really into Assassin's Creed anyway.
See, I'm the opposite. See, I've put it off because I am into the franchise, and I thought, oh, this could make a really good movie. Have you seen the Hitman movies?
Oh, Okay, so I haven't seen, like, the newer one.
Yeah, me either. But you've seen the one with Timothy Olyphant.
Yes.
See,
which I thought was really weird seeing him bald.
Sure.
I've seen bits of it.
Okay, so, again, hot women, as you would expect. But I would say that there are parts of that movie that do a really good job of representing the games.
Okay.
And then the plot gets in the way completely. So it falls under mediocre for me.
Right.
Like, it's not good, it's not bad. It's just kind of there. Now, I heard a rumor that they're making, supposedly in 2020, we're getting a Dynasty Warriors movie.
Oh.
Which is another one that, like Assassin's Creed, because I think Assassin's Creed should stick with, just being the historic film. It doesn't need to be jumping through time and all that like it does. And Dynasty Warriors, I think, could do this too. I think Dynasty Warriors, if it sticks with the historic stuff, really just kind of put some emphasis on the characters and, like, maybe, because there are 3 main warring factions, Wu, Shu, and Wei. Maybe you could just focus on one of them. I don't know. I think that could be good, though.
Do you know what just quickly what I would like to see? Onimusha.
As a movie?
Yeah.
Sure. I'd love it.
I would love that.
If you could get someone to do a good job with that, I'd love to see that.
Someone else get.
But that's another one. I really love that franchise, so I don't want anybody to mess that one up.
Right, you don't want anybody to ruin it.
Yeah.
Or you would bobble it.
What about, have you seen the Need for Speed movie?
No. Is that with Aaron Paul?
Yeah, Aaron Paul and Keaton. Michael
Really?
Keaton. He's the bad guy in it, supposedly.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
Huh. No, I have not seen that. I'll give it a whirl.
What about the Dead Space movie, Downfall?
Is that the animated one?
It is.
Have I seen it? I think I started to watch it and then I fell asleep.
I watched it. I want to watch it again because I don't remember much about it.
I love it.
Because I watched it when it came out.
I love Dead Space, and I think that would also make... That's very Event Horizon-esque.
Oh, yeah.
So I think that would make a good movie.
Yeah.
Live action, that is.
Speaking of animated, there is the Blood Rain movie, which I think is kind of considered a short, because apparently it's not very long.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, it's called like Bloody Fate or something like that. I would love to give that one a shot.
Alright, give that a go, yeah.
And the last one that I think I would really like to see is there are 2 movies that I've heard are horrible, yet horribly fun also, that are based off Dead Rising. Now, I just started playing Dead Rising 3, and I think that this should be an easy win zombie movie. And it's, is it Don Rickles who plays
I have
Frank?
no idea.
I can't remember. It's not Don Rickles, but it's somebody who plays Frank West who you're like, he should be a good Frank West. But there are 2 movies. It's like, one's like Watchtower and the other's Endgame or something like that.
I've seen Highlander.
Yeah, Highlander. Oh my god.
But no, I didn't know that could be fun. Like I would give it a go for sure. It's not on my top priority though.
And last, just for me, there are a lot of movies that are video games are their theme, and they're a big part of it, but they're not based off of actual video games. But I have to know, have you ever seen Brain Scan?
No.
We have to watch Brain Scan at some point. It's so cheesy.
What was that based off of?
Dude gets a video game in the mail and plays it, and the main villain, I guess, of the video game comes out and starts killing people.
Like Lawnmower Man?
Kind of. And Lawnmower Man's another really good example of kind of based off of a video game
type thing,
the virtual reality. And I actually really like Lawnmower Man.
Yeah.
Isn't there a sequel to that?
Yes.
I think
there's a couple.
I don't think I've ever seen the sequel. I think I've only seen the first one.
I just remember finding it really weird. But
we should watch Lawnmower Man again. Yeah. It's been years since I've seen it.
Yeah, why not? I'll just add it to the list. It's huge.
All right, so wrapping up.
Yes.
Talk to me about Tomb Raider.
Okay, so the reason why I left this till last is because I'm kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place. because we were talking about earlier about films, video game films that were based on the story from the games, like literally put like directly from it. Now, the new Tomb Raider movie, so when I first heard about it and I saw the trailer, not knowing anything about it at all, didn't even know it was going to be made, I looked at it and I watched it and I was like, I was face palming the whole time. I was like, oh no, oh no. And because I love...
And then you wouldn't shut up about the poster.
Oh my goodness, her neck. What is wrong? What? Who? Okay, I'm not good at Photoshop, but giraffe neck. What is all that about?
Okay.
And it looked like somebody had like... Her head was like a screw, and you know, like you've got like the teeth, you know, that screws onto things, you know, that grips onto the screw. Yes. And it looked like somebody had wound her head. And... Anyway.
That description.
So yeah, I looked at the trailer and I was like, okay, this looks like a really good fan-made, high-budget fan-made trailer. And then I realised, no, this is actually a thing that they're bringing out to theatres. Okay.
And it has Walton Goggins in it. It should be amazing.
Yeah, and speaking of Assassin's Creed, the actress who's playing Lara, who's Swedish, I think she is.
She's something like that.
Yeah, Alicia something is married to...
Don't even ask me to try to...
Is married to Michael Fassbender, who's in Assassin's Creed. Yeah.
I did not know they were married.
Yep. They are married. They're very private about their relationship, and
good for them.
Yeah, and I only found that out the other day. Any hooser.
I wonder if like her test for him is like, I'll date you if you can say my last name correctly.
Right. So, but she's you know she's an up and coming actress. She was in Ex Machina.
Yeah, which I still want to see.
Yeah, I still want to see that. Anyway, so not only does she not really look the part to me. Like there was this one. There's one clip in the trailer where she's with James Corden and some other chick, right? And she's getting her guns, and she's like,
I forgot Corden's
"I'll take two," and I'm like, "Oh God, really?" So okay, my biggest. We were talking about it earlier. So what they've done is they've taken elements from the first reboot. And they've taken the story, right, which I've just finished playing through, and they've taken the story of Rise of the Tomb Raider, which is the second in the reboot series. The fact that it's not even a nod to the games, it is a direct, you know, this is the story about Trinity, and you know, my dad being involved in this, and he found something. And they're after it, and I've got to prove, you know, I'm taking over his company, and I've got to prove I'm not crazy, and blah blah. And it's like,
you don't like this? You don't like that they're sticking closely to these two games?
It doesn't. Now that I'm older, I don't like the idea of it. Because it's like, well, at least with the first Tomb Raider film with Angelina Jolie, again, it wasn't great. Daniel Craig was in it, which a lot of people forget.
I did.
And also the bad guy in Resident Evil, the third film, Extinction, the doctor, I can't remember his name, is also the bad guy in Tomb Raider 1.
Isn't he the guy from Game of Thrones?
Yes. Yeah, he plays
Mormont or whatever.
Jorah?
Yeah, Jorah.
Yeah.
God, he gets around.
He does. Anywho, so, but like the first, even the second film, Cradle of Life, which is really, like, not great at all. I don't like that one as much.
Yeah, I don't think anyone. At least I've seen both of them. That one I barely remember.
They were their own story. Angelina embraced the character so well at the time because she is very like Lara is very sassy. She's very she enjoys what she does, and because
all I remember is her fighting a giant robot in her house.
Right. Yeah. Which again, she's just having fun. She's just being Lara.
Don't get me wrong. I don't dislike the first Tomb Raider movie. It was okay.
It is okay, but it's its own story. Like that's the great thing about Lara.
And so you wish that they were doing new stories.
I wish they did something original.
But you're still going to go see this one.
I'm not in any rush to. I will give it a go because I'm a huge fan of the franchise.
And you're still going to give it this chance. So if it does do this newer story well, you won't hate it.
I won't hate it, no. And I'm not. I was a little bit unfair when I first saw the trailers, and I still kind of facepalm. But if our friends want to go and see it, and say, hey, do you want to go see Tomb Raider? Like, I'm not going to turn around and say, okay, Wednesday night we're going to go and watch Tomb Raider. Like, I'm not going to force it upon anyone. But if they want to go and see it, okay, I'll go and see it. I'll give it a go.
All right, so fair enough. But I just want to remind you, Walton Goggins is in it, so it should be great.
But that could be the redeeming factor.
He's great. Two, the real question here, will it have as good of a soundtrack as the first Tomb Raider movie?
That is another thing. I don't know if it will, because the soundtrack to the first movie was, I mean, it had a lot of Nine Inch Nails, it had U2, which, okay
that's not a good example.
That's not a great example.
Look, I'm not a hater of U2, but that song...
I didn't know, it wasn't Crystal Method, was it?
It had something like that, but the other one that I always remember off of there was it had a track from Outkast.
And Basement Jaxx.
Those were two very good tracks on there.
Missy Elliott.
Yeah, it was a remix of one of her songs.
Remix with Nelly Furtado.
Yes. I actually, as much as I'm not a Nelly fan, Nelly Furtado fan, I thought that was pretty good.
Yeah. So again, it was a lot, and it had Chris Barry in it. Chris Barry is amazing. I love Chris Barry. He played the butler in the film.
I think we've talked about a lot of movies today.
Yeah.
And I think at some point we should really go back and we should pick a few of these and discuss them a little more in depth at some point.
Yeah.
Maybe some newer ones. There's new video game movies coming out. Maybe we'll do that with some of the newer ones.
Maybe like a top 5, best of the worst.
If anybody has a specific movie they would really love to hear us break down, let us know in the comments.
Yeah, definitely. Let us know your thoughts in the comments and what you think about these video game movies and what are some of your favourites too.
And let me know if anyone else has actually seen and enjoys Brain Scan, because that's a good movie.
Yeah, because I haven't heard of that one, so it's kind of obscure.
So anyway, if somebody heard you on this podcast and wanted to berate you for your opinions on these movies based on video games, which sounds silly the more I speak it out loud, where could they find you?
They can find me on YouTube, which is youtube.com/c/Geeketiquette game. If you're listening on YouTube, then obviously you're already here. You can also find me on Twitter, which is Geeketiquette YT. And those are the main places.
Oh, good. You didn't take too long. So for me, if you just want to find me and gush with me about Mortal Kombat or Street Fighter 2, the animated movie, you can find me on Twitter @StephenWiles. All right, but until next time.
Thanks for listening.